This is an important point in our own time, when higher education especially is called to task when it doesn't look and feel like the vocational model that has largely won the day in our collective imagination about what education ought to be. And what I mean by that is education as a means to a career end, and with the shortest distance between those 2 points. And some of the criticism of higher education and its too esoteric pursuits is lurking in Montaigne's account as well. Too much learning can weigh on one's mind to the point of shutting down one's ability to grow and to shine. I think that's a danger at St. John's. Sometimes our students can be a little humorless, and you know you have to change something there. Montaigne's use of l'esprit, the word he uses for mind, in contrast with l'âme, the soul, in this passage is instructive on this point. For he could have used one or the other expression to describe both what in the pupil might be weighed down by knowledge and what might be expanded. But he didn't. He used l'esprit for his weighing down metaphor and l'âme for his filling up metaphor. L'esprit refers specifically to that aspect of the human mind, of the human being rightly translated mind, namely the aspect concerned with academic pursuits. But l'âme is the soul, the aspect of the person that animates a life, is in practical as well as academic pursuits. What Montaigne is saying then is that the same knowledge which can weigh down the mind also can free the soul. And the difference seems to be in whether that knowledge is regarded as an acquisition or as something to be discharged into the world by the able person. When learning is geared toward expanding the soul rather than contenting itself with weighing down the mind, ability is possible. Montaigne chooses his examples carefully, for the handling of public matters, warfare, and affairs of state require one to go beyond learning conceived as so much stuff in our heads. It requires rather taking and using it in a variety of ways in order to be responsive to the world. In short, Montaigne's examples require learners with judgment. The learned with nothing more than excellent memories need not apply. Imagine a crisis, that the president is facing. And things, where have I seen this before? Is there anything I can dig back to? It just doesn't work that way. Human affairs of state, warfare, and public matters all require that the individuals who engage them have the capacity to go beyond what is given, to go beyond parroting, to go beyond passivity by taking what they have learned, judging its relevance to the matter at hand, and acting in light of that learning and judgment. Again, this is not to say that an education aimed at knowledge is incompatible with an education aimed at ability. But we must be keenly aware of how the methods of education differ according to its primary aim or end. This brings us back to the first 2 distinctions I've asked us to consider. That between an education aimed at parroting, that word is just on my lips. That between an education aimed at producing the learned and an education aimed at cultivating learners. That was my sign that I need to stop, and you just have a couple more minutes. For these distinctions have everything to do with the development of ability in our students. Again, Montaigne is helpful on this point. Reflecting on why the learned are so often the butt of jokes and the objects of disdain in his time, Montaigne says in the essay on pedantry, quote, that this evil comes from the bad way that men of learning have of going at the sciences, and that the way we are instructed, it is no wonder if neither the students nor the masters grow in ability, although they do make themselves more learned. In truth, the care and expense of our fathers aims only at furnishing our heads with knowledge. Of judgment and virtue, little news. We labor only to fill our memory and leave understanding and the conscience empty. Here Montaigne is offering us an opportunity for further reflection on how education is pursued in light of its ends. And it is clear that it can be pursued badly or well. Pursuing education badly has to do with looking at knowledge as so much furnishing, something that fills up our heads, kind of like your bellies, with something that you don't end up digesting. To have a head furnished with knowledge, to have a memory that is filled to capacity, may very well result in greater and greater learnedness. But as an end in itself, Montaigne finds it contrary to the spirit of education, and therefore unworthy of those who dedicate their lives to educating the young. They may succeed in making students more learned in the process, even turning out individuals who are very like themselves, suited to professorial chairs. But they have failed to grasp the ends of their own profession if they are too caught up in the importance of possessing knowledge. The alternative would be for the education to address itself to developing the student's power of exercising knowledge, moving differently in the world because of it. Presumably under this condition, the soul might be expanded rather than the mind burdened, and ability would be the result. Ability requires that we reach beyond what is given in order to make a contribution of our own, and judgment is the faculty that makes this possible. It is the faculty that makes us more rather than less responsive to the experiences that confront us, a sign of virtue or of excellence in what we do. As such, it is crucial to the exercise of understanding